we the people of the United States, in order to form a more perfect union. I'm reading from the United States Constitution. What is the U.S. Constitution? Before the United States was a country, there were 13 colonies, which were ruled by the King of Great Britain. The king made most of the decisions about how the colonies were run and how people lived. The founding leaders of the United States did not want one person or group to have too much power, like a king. They created the Constitution, which is a set of laws that explains how the country's government should be organized and run. The Constitution separates the government into 3 branches. Each branch checks the others to make sure there's a balance of power. What is the legislative branch? Congress is the legislative branch, and it creates laws. Citizens elect members of Congress, and they meet in the Capitol building in Washington, D.C. Congress is made of 2 separate parts, the Senate and the House of Representatives. Each state elects 2 senators. Since there are 50 states, there are 100 members in the Senate. Senators are elected every 6 years. Citizens also elect members to the House of Representatives. The House of Representatives has 435 seats. The number of seats each state gets depends on the population of the state. States with more people get more seats in the House. Representatives are elected every 2 years. The Senate and House work together to create bills and vote on them. A bill is an idea that can be turned into a law. If a bill passes in the House of Representatives and the Senate, the bill gets sent to the President. What is the executive branch? The executive branch is in charge of carrying out laws and approving and recommending new ones. The President of the United States is the head of the executive branch. When the President gets a bill, he or she can approve it and sign it. Then the bill turns into a law. The President can also veto or reject a bill. Then the bill gets sent back to Congress for changes. But Congress can hold another vote to override or rule against the President's veto. The President's veto power and Congress's power to override the veto make sure that one part of the government does not have too much power. It can be a little confusing, but it keeps a separation of powers in the government. The system of how branches of the government can check each other and keep a balance of power is called checks and balances. The President also appoints or chooses people who help him or her make decisions. These people make up the cabinet. The Senate approves the cabinet members as part of the government's checks and balances. The President acts as the commander-in-chief who leads the armed forces and meets with leaders from other countries to discuss problems. The President and Vice President are the only governmental leaders who are elected by the entire country. They are elected every 4 years. But the President can only serve 2 terms for a total of 8 years. What is the judicial branch? The court system makes up the judicial branch. Courts decide arguments about the meaning of laws and decide whether laws go against the Constitution. The U.S. Supreme Court is the highest court, and its decisions guide the other courts in the country. There are 9 justices, or judges, of the U.S. Supreme Court, and they are appointed by the President and approved by the Senate. The justices serve for life until they decide to step down, or if Congress votes to remove them. So, the legislative branch creates laws, The executive branch carries out the laws, and the judicial branch interprets laws and explains the meaning of them. Each branch checks each other to make sure there's a balance of power. So, one person can't just make a new law or change the Constitution. A lot of people have to work together. What? You changed the Constitution? Every day shall be ice cream day. Moby, did Congress pass this?
All right, guys, for the next couple of weeks, we'll be working on this packet right here. It's called the 3 branches of government, just like on the video. Okay. This packet is on Google Classroom, okay, as a material. So you can actually download it and print it out if you're at home and if you're absent, okay? So this packet is available on Google Classroom. So we're going to read the first 2 pages and we're going to annotate. That means we'll be taking notes, okay, and highlighting important information, okay? So here we go. There we go. It says 3 branches of government. Well, I'll tell you one thing right now, that's important. Because what's the text about? What's the text about? The 3 branches of government. It says the United States of America wasn't always a free country. Should we highlight that? Does that talk about the 3 branches of government? Does that talk about the 3 branches of government? No. Cute information is kind of cool. It wasn't always a free country, but no, it's not important. Okay. We have won our independence from Great Britain. The founding fathers created the United States Constitution. A constitution is the written document which guides our government still to this day. Okay. Now, even though that doesn't talk about the 3 branches of government, it does tell me what a constitution is. So I am going to go ahead and highlight that. Okay. The Constitution is like a blueprint for our federal government that tells how the government should be organized and run. The United States has the oldest written constitution in the entire world, over 200 years old. Okay. The Constitution separates the government into 3 parts or branches. Huh. Should I highlight that?
Yeah.
And should I highlight the information coming? Because we're about to know what those 3 branches are, right? Okay. 1 is a legislative branch, makes the laws. 2, the executive branch carries out the laws. Okay. And the judicial branch evaluates the laws. Yeah. By the way, one of those 3 is what the president does. Okay, he's the executive branch. Okay, meaning writes, vote, makes everything into a law by signing things. Okay. Now this is page 2 on the packet. It says, "We the people." The Constitution begins with "We the people." Oh, I didn't know that, but that's kind of cool that it begins with that. We the people. Okay, and then he's going to tell you what it means, because it says, which means that since we all make the laws, we all need to follow them. So that's what we the people mean. Okay. No one is above the law. Kind of like the classroom's rules, huh? Okay, we made those. Okay. It also means it's up to us whether this is a country made up of fair or unfair laws. Okay. We the people is a promise and a responsibility for all of its citizens. The Constitution is like a handbook for our federal government that tells how the government should be organized and run. All right. The Constitution created a federal government, which here's what the government does. Okay, the Constitution created a federal government which collects taxes and leads the military. People in all states must follow the laws passed by the federal government, but states have the power to pass their own laws. 2. Did you know President George Washington named the first National Thanksgiving Day to give thanks for the U.S. Constitution on November 26, 1789? I don't know that. Actually, I probably did, but yeah. Okay. So here's an example of a law that was created. That's why we celebrate Thanksgiving. Okay.